If you think a stock is going to go up, but not quite go to the moon, or you think a stock's going to drop, but not quite go to zero, then the best trade that you could be placing is something called a vertical spread. They're efficient, they're simple, and when you pair them with option skew, they can be one of the best trades on the board. Stick with me through this video and you'll know exactly how to structure vertical spreads like a pro. A vertical spread is just a fancy name for a put spread or a call spread. You're buying one option and then you're selling another one just a little bit further out of the money. Same expiration, different strikes. You can use them to go bullish or bearish while keeping your risk defined and your capital requirements low. Let's break down a bullish example using Apple at $190. In this case, what you could do if you're bullish on Apple is you could maybe go out and buy the 190 call on Apple for $10 and then sell the 200 strike call for $6, leaving you with a net debit that you pay of $4 for that vertical spread. Now the width of that spread is from $190 to $200. Meaning the max amount that it could be worth is $10. You're paying for a max reward of 10 if Apple goes above $200. So effectively, your risk reward is 1 to 1.5. That's it. And the put side actually works the exact same way. So coming back to our example, Apple at 190, let's say you're bearish this time, you could maybe go and buy that 190 put for $10 and then go and sell the 180 put for $6. But once again, with the max width of that $10, right? 190 minus 180, the width is 10. So you're once again getting that 1 to 1.5 risk reward as long as Apple goes below that 180 strike by expiration. It's simple, it's clean, it's efficient. And by the way, if you're looking to run boring option selling strategies that actually make money, click the link in the description below and take a free trial with Predicting Alpha. We are the only platform focused on evidence-backed, data-driven option selling strategies where we give full transparency into everything. You get all the research, we teach you exactly how to run the strategies, and you get the tools you need. Think of it like a quantitative co-pilot to help you run these strategies like a pro. So if you're serious about this game, click the link in the description below and take it to the next level. All right, so now that we know the basics of how vertical spreads work, here is where it gets a little bit spicy. When there is steep skew in the direction that you want to be trading, skew is basically the difference in implied volatility across different strikes. You can read all about it on our ultimate guide to selling options profitably, which you can find on our website. When the skew is steep in the direction that you're trying to go, your vertical spreads can get a very big edge. Let's say you're bullish and the out-of-the-money calls have higher implied volatility than the at-the-money calls. The option that you're buying is trading at a lower vol than the one that you're selling. You're basically getting more premium for the option you're selling than you should relative to the one that you're buying. That improves your risk reward just by structuring your trade into the skew. Now let's quickly talk about choosing your strikes and expirations for a trade like this. It really all comes down to how convicted you are in your view. How quickly do you think things are going to move, and how much do you think they're going to move? If we were looking at a stock that was trading at $200, and let's say you are moderately bullish, maybe you go and you buy the 200 call and then sell the 210 call. But if you were extremely bullish, maybe you go a little bit further out of the money and get a bit of a better risk reward, where you could be doing something like buying the 210 call and selling the 220 call. And then it would be this, and then of course it'd be the same thing if you're bearish, just on the other side. How moderate or severe is your bullish or bearishness? And then the way you pick your days to expiration is based on how quickly you think the move is going to happen. If you just have a general sense of the direction that things are going to move, maybe you structure it 2 to 3 weeks out. But if you think it's going to be a quick or rapid move, then you can structure it using the weekly options or something even shorter if they're available. Now, what about risk management? Well, when I trade vertical spreads personally, the way I think about them is the debit that I paid is effectively the risk I'm willing to take. I assume that if it's going to be a losing trade, I'm going to incur that max loss of the debit position. And then I simply write it out. If I paid $3 for the spread, then that is my risk. I don't really bother setting a stop. And the reason is because forecasting day-to-day movements is pretty hard. Like the first day after I put on the trade, the stock could just move down and all of a sudden it looks like I'm losing tons of money. But there's still 20 days to expiration or whatever, and the stock could easily move back up. So I just accept that the debit is the amount that I'm willing to risk on the trade and then let it play out. So the real edge with these vertical spreads is not just how simple they are or the risk reward they give you, it's knowing when to use them. If you have a directional view and that skew is leaning in your favor, then it makes sense to place this trade. Because realistically, it'll give you a way better risk reward than maybe just a naked option ever could. So here's the bottom line. Vertical spreads allow you to take a directional bet. You use calls if you're bullish and puts if you're bearish. When the skew is steep, the vertical spread becomes an even more attractive trade. You pick your strikes and expirations based on how much conviction you have in the trade and what the timing of the trade is going to be in your opinion. And then you basically just size the trade so that your debit that you pay for the position is the amount you're willing to risk on that idea. Master that, and you've got one of the cleanest trades in the option game. All right, everyone, happy trading. We'll see you in the next video.